Okay, so here's one that came up, and I think this is a great question, and I've run into this before. So with an incentive program design, how do you not discourage or disincentivize people at the extreme ends of the bell curve in terms of performance? For instance, if you incentive a group, it may discourage the high performers, but if you incent individually, it may discourage the low performers. And really, how do you strike that balance? And I think this gets into that social psychology term of distributive justice. Is it do people determine it to be equitable? And I ran into a case where a special projects manager, which is a big deal for MEP contractors and even some general contractors, but one of them is outperforming his number, second best performer in the company, and they've got probably 7 or 8 of these folks. There's a 2x difference between the number one and the number two when it comes to just pure output. And and yet, is his base compensation more? Yes. Is his incentive comp more? Yes. But it is not different in his mind. It's not different in measurably. It's not different in the same percentage ratios from kind of throughout that bell curve. So, anyways, with that, Sue, I'll let you tack this one. It's a sticky question. How do you address that?
Well, most that I've seen, most programs tend to be multifaceted, right? Where it is, they look at their compensation, their little paycheck compensation in a couple of ways. One is, what's the base comp? Are they at market rate? Is there a performance metric to it? Those types of things. Did they take on more responsibility in this last year? So someone may get a 2%, someone may get a 7%, but it's very definable as to how those rates were made up. Same thing in an incentive program, right? If those are monetary incentives, it is it can be by number. If you were able to talk to clients and get $1 million worth of estimates in the door, or it could be a range of $1 million to $2 million. There's some bonus points or something that go with that, where again it's kind of a pool. You may do well in this area, you may not do well in that area. Two people may get the same incentive, but it's for two different reasons. So just being very clear on what that is, and putting ranges and putting multi-subject matter. Again, going back to safety, quality, production, equipment use and availability, retention and recruiting of people. When you start to put all of those things together, trying to fit it all in a bag, you start to see some things start to ooze out. So be sure that you catch all the things that are important to the company. So calling them high performers, are they high performers in what, right? So taking a look at it that way, that's what I would do.
That's a really, really good point, Sue, is high performers in what? Because that was actually exactly the scenario, was that the person who was at the end of the bell curve being measured simply by output and profitability, our Achilles heel was he had not been able to go develop others to go replicate his success. So he was an extremely great individual performer, but hadn't been able to go develop others. Now, that also wasn't necessarily part of his job description either. So, but that's an opportunity to reframe that and really be able to impact the whole company. So great point. Courtney, anything to add to that one?
Again, I think this really comes down to starting with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey wrote, at every level. Right? Where are we going? And breaking that down to every single level of the program. And I couldn't agree more with the last 2 points that Sue and you reiterated. Understanding really what are the total behaviors that we need to incent, or that we want to incent, that actually aligns with where the company's going. The stuff that doesn't align is probably the things that we need to remove from any incentive program.